Greetings, class. Welcome to Duel Academy. Professor Revis here, and this will be the second lesson of your third class in your Obelisk Blue term, Tournament Readiness, Tournament Preparation. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be up to date with the latest Duel Academy lessons and assessments. So without further ado, get your deck, get your game on, and let's get started. Before going to a tournament, it's important to know what to bring in order to have a successful tournament experience. First, you need to bring your Konami card game number, or KCGMID, which is how Konami identifies duelists and their ranking. Next, you'll need some other form of identification, such as a school ID, state ID, driver's license, or passport. If you're under the age of 13, you may bring your birth certificate, which is important for duelists who want to participate in the Dragon Duel event, which is the tournament for duelists who are 12 and under. You will also want to bring money to events. Some events charge an entrance fee, but even if it doesn't, you want to have some money in case there are vendors at the event selling cards, mats, sleeves, etc. Lastly, bring your invite if that particular event requires it. Before arriving to the event, you must also bring your main deck, and you may bring an optional extra deck and side deck. All decks must abide by the forbidden and limited list. You may also want to bring your card case or deck box to hold your decks and tournament materials. A playmat is great to bring in order to place your cards accurately in their zones during a duel. Bringing extra card sleeves is beneficial in case any of your sleeves get damaged before or throughout the event. Paper and a pencil is great for recording your life points and filling out match result slips. Finally, bring any materials that your deck may need, such as dice, tokens, counters, and coins. It is optional to download and use the official Konami app called Neuron, which can keep track of life points, use coins and dice, and translate cards. The app must be offline to use. Before the event, one must understand rulings and policy. When it comes to rulings, not only do you have to understand the current version of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rulebook, but also the rulings for your own deck. You must also understand problem-solving card text, which is the way cards are written to logically interpret cards and their effects. It's also important to understand tournament policies, infractions, and penalties. These will be discussed in the next class. Now that we know what is needed before the tournament, let's get registered. There are two types of registration, online and in person. Not all events offer online registration, but if it does, you'll need your KCGN ID and payment method. Your deck list, which is a list of the main, extra, and side decks you'll be using for the tournament, may be due at registration or at a later date. Since it is an online registration, a staff member of the event may reach out to verify your information after online registration is completed. In-person registration means you are registering at the venue itself. You will still need your KCGN ID, physical registration form, valid form of ID, and deck list. If the event has a fee, you have to pay at the registration. If you are someone that likes to have your things prepared beforehand, you can print and fill out the physical registration form and deck list before arriving at the event. Registration is over. It's now time to duel. Now that you're sitting across your opponent, let's discuss the procedure to get started. First, you need to shuffle your deck, which means it must be randomized and cut. You must use an accepted shuffling method to randomize your deck, such as the riffle shuffle or pile shuffle. Once you have shuffled your deck, you must present it to your opponent so they can further randomize it. Once your opponent gives you back your deck, you can cut the deck yourself, but then allow your opponent to have the final cut. This must all be done in the presence of your opponent and in a timely manner. To find out who goes first in the first duel of the match, a random method, like rolling a die or playing rock, paper, scissors, can be used. Once Duel 1 is completed, the loser of that duel decides who goes first for Duel 2. If the match goes into Duel 3, the loser of Duel 2 decides who goes first. If a duel ends in a draw, a random method must be used once again. During the duel, it is important to relay accurate information at all times. Honest communication is key to maintaining an accurate game state. If you're ever unsure of something during the duel, communicate with your opponent or a tournament official to clear it up. If game rules are not being followed, communicate that with your opponent or judge if necessary. Note-taking is allowed during a duel for certain aspects. These aspects include keeping track of life points, tracking of mandatory effects, and tracking of turns and counters. If there is an issue during a duel, only written notes will be acceptable evidence to dispute it. Finally, notes taken outside of the duel may not be used. Just like communication, note-taking is important to maintain an accurate game state. Now, let's discuss the difference between public knowledge and private knowledge. Public knowledge is information that must be provided if asked by an opponent or a tournament official. Private knowledge is information that may not be revealed. Public knowledge includes number of cards in hand, number of cards in deck, number of cards and names of cards in the graveyard and face-up banish zone, and notes that have been taken. Private knowledge includes all cards still in the deck, all cards that are face down, and cards in the hand. Finally, it is time to discuss the end of match procedures. If the time in the round has concluded, there are two scenarios. The duel has finished within time, or it hasn't finished within time. If the match has finished within time, the winner of the match must accurately fill out a match slip that documents that they won. The slip must be completed and submitted within 5 minutes of the end of the round and cannot be altered once submitted. If the match hasn't finished in time, 3 rules must be followed. Rule 1. If time was called in the middle of a duel, a decision on that duel must be made. Rule 2. Once the current duel has a decision, the player with the most wins is the winner of the match. If the players have the same amount of wins, the result is a draw. And Rule 3. If a win condition, such as Exodia or Destiny board, occurs during the end of the match procedure, the player who enacted it wins that current duel. When time is called in a round, end of match procedures takes place. This means that you may only continue with the current phase of the duel. So if time is called during your main phase 1, you must finish out the duel in your main phase 1. The player with the most life points wins that current duel. If players have equal life points, the result is a draw. When all the rounds of the tournament have concluded, your record will determine if you made top cut. The number of participants in a tournament determine the number of Swiss rounds as well as the minimum playoff top cut. Refer to the table on the bottom right for more information. Thank you so much for attending this class. There will be a quiz in this lesson, so don't forget to take it. I hope you have a great day, and class dismissed.